Okay, Westcon-Comstor, you recently celebrated your 40th birthday, anniversary, what do you call it? And it'd just be good to understand, I suppose, how did you mark the occasion? What did you do?
Yeah, Phil, it's quite a milestone for us, something we're very proud of. So we had a number of office parties around the world. I think we have 27 odd, physical offices with a lot of people in. And all of them came together in a different way of what they wanted to do. Lots of cake cutting, and celebrations, a lot of videos, and it was great. I think everyone really got behind it. It is a milestone, to be 40 years in this industry. Looking back at the history of where we've come from and the role we play now, I think our teams are incredibly proud to be part of that journey. And there's a lot of people we've had a very long tenure as well within the business and have seen it transform over the years. And so it was a special celebration. It was good fun.
Okay, and in terms of sort of other things alongside celebrating the milestone, I don't know whether it was at the same time or similar time frame, you launched your Future Ready initiative. So I guess it'd be good to understand, what that is, what the objective is there.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're saying we're 40 and future ready. We're at a 40-year-old organization, but still very relevant. And in fact, I think we've got an incredibly optimistic role that we can play in the future. So this future ready theme was born out of that at the time of our 40th anniversary. And it's really sort of an 18-month program going forward around, just reiterating the message of where we see ourselves within the channel, some of the trends we're seeing shape the industry and where we believe, we can add value to our partners, our vendors, and our customers, going forward. And that theme is something that we are continuously building on now, over the next couple of months. And there's been a number of things that we're sort of releasing around it, as well as utilizing it internally with our staff and our teams, just to really shape the vision of where we're going.
Okay, and I think you mentioned that, but in terms of identifying series of trends that are sort of reshaping the distribution and the channel industry, so was that just a sort of because of the 40 years, it was a good time to sort of take stock, or was there other reasons behind that decision?
I think a bit of both. I think, after 40 years, we want to, talk about the fact that we are also looking towards the future. And there are so many, major trends I think we see that are influencing customers' purchasing behavior, what our partners need to be ready for, and for us as an organization, opportunities that we see with these trends that will ultimately provide growth. So I think the timing is very good. We've done trends before. We've looked at the trends that are always shaping the industry, and we've always been part of that. But sort of coinciding this with that future ready theme, that was also quite important because these are some what we believe are mega trends that are fundamentally changing how everyone is looking at technology and how they're using technology moving forward.
Okay, so I guess it'd be good to dig down into some of the trends that you did identify. I don't know if this is the most important one, but the first one that I bumped into, if you like, is the opportunity in terms of the rise of hybrid enterprise environments. That there's an opportunity there for MSP. So, could you perhaps elaborate as to what the opportunity is there?
Absolutely. I think MSPs and service providers have a huge opportunity here. The world is hybrid now. People require on-prem capabilities, they require services with hyperscalers in the cloud, and they need managed service providers ultimately to be able to manage and help them drive certain services. They can't do it all on their own. So for MSPs, this hybrid world, I think, is a real opportunity for growth. They're going to be the glue that's ultimately spanning all the different layers, right? Helping customers automate, helping them manage their security, helping manage their data, and everything that flows in between is really something that the MSPs play to as a strength. And I think for them, that is a real opportunity in this hybrid world because it is complex to manage, it is complex to orchestrate, and the MSPs have an incredibly valuable role to play within that space.
Okay, and in terms of others, I mean, cybersecurity, clearly that's sort of top of many agendas, if you like, maybe, well, maybe AIs as well, which we'll come on to. But so cybersecurity, but you've sort of identified, I think, that it's now become a business function, not just an IT concern. So what does that mean for the channel? Is there more opportunity there or a different type of opportunity?
Well, I'll answer your second part of your question, which was I think it's an amazing opportunity for the channel. There's no doubt cybersecurity is on top of mind for everyone. I think, with that, of course, there is risk, but you can see that as opportunity. That means that vendors, new offerings, partners, capabilities, and skills are ultimately meeting an end customer's demand somewhere along the line that they need help with. Um, to the first part, though, around it no longer just being an IT thing to deal with and really being a business topic, I think it's, if you look at organizations today, their CEOs, CFOs are accountable to their boards, to their stakeholders for how they manage security as well. So it's no longer just the CISO or the CIO who are tasked with looking after security and protecting the organization. CFOs have this specifically on their agenda, and it's something that they're looking at all the time. And so it really is a business issue, not just a technology issue. And so, you're seeing more and more, C-suite uh, 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 employees within a partner or a customer who are looking into the cybersecurity side, whereas previously that might have just been something they would have left the CISO to look at and be responsible. I think they're much more engaged in the conversations. It doesn't mean the role of the CISO is no longer important. In fact, it's probably more important than ever. But you've got to have a conversation now with CEOs and CFOs as well if you're a partner wanting to talk about cybersecurity because you're talking about massive business risk. And for those individuals, this is going to be top of their agenda and something that they've got to understand and work with their technology teams to make sure that businesses are protected.
Okay, and as I mentioned as part of the question, I guess I said, cybersecurity and AI is the other one, sort of
Mm.
top of the list right now. And I think you've identified that specifically AI-driven data orchestration is potentially redefining the role of the channel. So what's going on with that particular sort of aspect of AI?
Yeah, you can't have a conversation without security and AI these days for any organization. I think if we look at it from a data perspective, right, organizations have so much data and that data is extremely powerful for them. But how they then use AI on top of that is what's really it unlocks the potential of what they can do with that data. And so the partners, who work with us, who are focused on infrastructure, are moving from just being players in infrastructure to being able to be enablers for intelligence, right? Helping those organizations come to grips with the data, all of the fabrics that they have, the data sources possibly in many different areas, and how to bring that together with new AI models, managing the governance around it, the security as well, right? Making sure that that internal data isn't getting out externally, and how then that organization can really use that data from an AI perspective, to be more competitive. Partners who are able to help end customers with that have a huge role to play. And I think it's a huge opportunity as well because it's a complex thing for an end customer to be able to just do themselves. They're going to need partners who they can rely on, who understand how to really get intelligence out of the data by utilizing AI models and helping them be more successful ultimately as organizations.
Okay, and perhaps moving on to yesterday's AI, if you like, which was cloud. Obviously it's different, but what I'm saying it was the buzz topic, perhaps pre AI, and but it's still having an impact, I think, although it's a maturer technology, and I think you're suggesting that it's changing distribution and maybe the role of partners. So, what's going on in the cloud world in that sense?
Absolutely. And you're right. I think it's not that cloud has gone away, cloud has matured. And I think organizations are much more comfortable, utilizing cloud technologies for different parts of the workloads or whatever it is that they need. But I think for partners, they've got to look at how they, go, it's almost interconnected to this hybrid environment. Some things the customer will use will be in the cloud. Some of it will be on-prem, and they need to be able to manage and orchestrate all of that together. And furthermore, for partners, they need to start viewing hyperscalers as a route to market, a platform, not a competitor or a threat, which it can be seen as sometimes, but actually a mechanism that helps service the technology ultimately for the end customer. And so they need to really understand how to operate in all of those environments. The partners are having to look at how do they work with hyperscalers? How do they have the skills to deploy within a hyperscaler environment as well as on-prem, or a combination of both, depending on the technologies? And for partners that are going to be successful, they've got to understand all of these environments to work in, and and work with the hyperscaler, see them as a route to market. I mean, that's what the marketplaces really are, is a mechanism to connect, the end customers and the technology that they need. But it's not as simple as just clicking and buying something. There are still complexities that sit underneath managing all of these technologies. And so the value that the partners have, that they've always had ultimately for the end customers, doesn't go away, but they need to be able to help navigate the transactions in the marketplace if needed, or that the workloads may be based on a hyperscaler's environment and not necessarily sitting in a data center that they're used to. So great opportunity, and a lot of new skills that are required from partners to be able to manage these much more complex environments.
Okay, and I'm sorry to jump around a bit because there's
No,
another
no, no.
AI bit which maybe I should have asked when we were talking about AI. But just in terms of the networking side of things, what's the role do you think that AI has, now and maybe moving forward? What's the impact it can have?
I think there's a significant play here happening as well. Networks are simple things by their nature, but very complex to manage. And when you start bringing security into them, and you've got to look and observe, what's going on across the network, and be able to take actions and changes, based on either security or, routing traffic in the best way, or making sure that the latency is low, whatever it might be that, traditional network administrator would be doing, they're using AI to augment that. And the AI capabilities now within networks are, expanding at a rapid rate, helping the people running networks, to understand what is actually taking place in the networks, self-remediate, or at least point to where things need to change within a network environment to keep them running in a more stable way. So, network architecture is changing quite significantly as a result. And we're seeing more and more AI technologies being embedded down to the switch level, down to the port level, to make sure that the networks are, more adaptable and more optimized for performance in this new world. But that also means, again, new levels of skill within a partner, being able to deploy these networks and understanding what the vendors' roadmaps look like in terms of the changes that they're making, the technology and the features that they're starting to implement, which will ultimately make it simpler to run networks. But to truly set them up well, you have to have that level of skill that understand what the network's really telling you. So we do see that as a major change that's going to continuously, evolve over the next few years, as more and more AI technologies get embedded into different types of network environments.
Okay, and I think one final thing, which isn't so much technology focused, but the sort of customer, and I think you've identified that the SMB market is potentially the channel's next sort of global growth engine. So, is there something partners need to do in particular to seize this opportunity? How do they address that particular sector, if you like?
Yes, so the SMB market is booming. More and more organizations are starting up, and obviously does depend on region as to what everyone considers SMB. But SMBs are significant size organizations down to small organizations, but they have the same challenges that large global multinationals have. They've got the same concerns to worry about in terms of security, how to have an optimized network, to help deliver what they need. So partners who are able to focus on a subset of technologies that really play to SMBs, that help them simplify, automate their environments, I think have a significant role to play. And at the same time, those MSPs, we're providing services, doing it on behalf of these organizations that may not have their own technology staff or CISOs. They're not maybe not large enough to be able to employ that level of resource. Need trusted partners then to work with to help them run their businesses. And so there's a significant play in terms of being able to help SMBs, but it does need a different focus. You can't address an SMB in the same way as you would a large enterprise or multinational. You have to have a different playbook, I think, and a different suite of technologies that will allow the SMBs to have I suppose, both cost-effective but optimal environment for them to be able to perform with.
Maybe just finally, I think you've been in your current role as your executive vice president for Middle East and Africa just over a year. So it'd just be good to know how your role is going, how you're enjoying that, and maybe, and this is perhaps a bit difficult, but the future for Westcon-Comstor. I mean, that's obviously quite a big question, but just any thoughts as to, because clearly the channel, as we've discussed with MSPs, etc., is evolving. How does Westcon-Comstor sort of evolve, to maintain its place within that ecosystem, if you like?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Phil. So yeah, it has been just over a year and a bit that I've been in this role, looking after Middle East and Africa. It feels like 3 months, which I think would be a good sign that it's been rewarding. There's been lots to do. It's been a lot of fun as well. But there's always a lot of challenges in the markets that we operate in Middle East and Africa, but also a huge amount of opportunity and some really fast-growing markets. So my team and I think we're having a really good impact. If I look at the relationships that we hold with our partners and with our vendors, I think we're really uh, the glue that brings a lot of things together for them in some of these markets, and particularly with the challenges of, macro challenges of Forex and other things that we face on a daily basis. I think there's a significant role for us to play to help vendors navigate through those environments, find more partners, and ultimately the end customers who they serve, really supporting them to grow with all of these technologies and the trends I spoke about. So that's keeping us really busy, which is really rewarding. And our business has been growing really well over the last year. We've got a really strong bunch of talented people in the team. And so my role is really to help support them and help them do the great job that they do every day. And it's been a lot of fun. To the second part of your question, sort of looking to the future. So, again, 40 years young, as I keep liking to say, not for me, I'm a little bit older than that now, but our organization, it's all about enabling partners and vendors and helping them navigate the market complexities as well as the trends that we've identified. And I think there's a huge role for us to play, and we're really committed to helping ultimately create that future-ready IT channel. If we look at AI, we see that as an opportunity. Of course, there will be risks with it, but any new technology, there's always risks. And, we talked about cloud earlier and how I believe that's really mature now, but, go back 10 years and people are uncertain what to do in a cloud environment, whether they should or shouldn't. And I think AI is in that space. People know they have to get involved with AI and utilize it and find use cases within their business. But I think that represents a significant opportunity for us, because AI will ultimately touch everything, as we've spoken about, the networks and the infrastructure and how to manage the data and the underlying interconnections between everything, is a huge role for a distributor like ourselves to play in the market. There, of course, talked about challenges and the macroeconomics, and I talked about MEA, but even globally, things with the tariffs and where that plays. But we face these kind of challenges every day, and we always have. They're just new challenges, perhaps, and I think our role is to be there for the partners and help them navigate through it, and try and bring them the best advice that we can and support them in terms of being enabled and then ultimately to do the transactions. So I'm extremely confident about the outlook for our organization. I think Westcon-Comstor as an organization have a fantastic capability, great people, and I think we're in a very exciting time within the market and what's happening in the channel. And our role, I think, has never been more important, quite frankly, in terms of being able to be that glue that helps everybody navigate challenging times, but also significant opportunities.
Okay, it's been lovely to chat to you and great to hear what's going on at the organization and very interesting about the trends and stuff. And I suspect neither of us might be still working in 40 years' time for the for the catch up then. But I suspect Westcon-Comstor will still be going strong. But really enjoyed chatting. So thank you very much indeed, Rat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks. Great to chat to you again.